Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Laura Crapo, and today I thought I would do a reading for the collective on, I didn't make this the title because, titles have to be short, and then because if you keep typing, it'll turn red and you can't press enter. So basically, it was like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything, and I was kind of thinking about how, for example, a person like Elon Musk, talking about Mars and whatever, and then people have Google Maps pictures of people in a Canadian island with the buggies and the film crew and whatever. Whatever. There's some debate on the validity of what he's proposing, and he's proposing a bunch of stuff. It's like, hey, driving my car is go to my planet, go put this computer chip in your head or whatever. He's proposing a variety of ways to spend your life, or things to invest in and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, he's free to, in this market style or in this country, whatever, to propose various things. But what do you want? And I would say that being super busy like that, making alternatives to just living in nature without having to leave the planet or hijack your brain or whatever. Nature is a fully functioning system. And right now, for whatever reason, for whatever reason that I fully accept, I'm living in the country right now, and it's just, and then my car isn't perfect, so there are times when I'm just biking and stuff, or biking or walking longer distances to just get stuff done or get groceries, whatever, and it slows the world down, and I'm able to become familiar with certain flowers on the side of the road, or little chipmunks that love to kind of flirtatiously dart across the street just when you're about to pass, or just really slowing things down so that you're more into, you're not just in a car looking at the view like a film, you're in the film. And in nature, it's all the trees and the water have a perfume. And for example, let's say it rained heavy for a couple days and then it's really sunny, so when you pass by little ponds or just more humidity, the perfume really hits you in waves, and it's just it's just a different thing, a different way of living, being immersed in nature like that, where you're not feeling the need to create something else, whatever. And so I was thinking, since I was already a fan of nature, but I know for some people who are not used to it and find it what are those noises, or what's it called, swimming in a lake with the tadpoles or whatever, instead of a pool with perfectly clean water, stuff like that can seem a bit weird at first. But let's say you become familiar with a certain spot, like a river or a lake or something like that, and then you kind of feel a part of it and feel welcome in it, and you get it. For me, I know all the frogs in my 20-foot radius on the shoreline and stuff. and like they've gone from being like 5 feet away to going right on my dock and just kind of like, like keeping their post, like the comfort level increases and stuff. So when you have these people who want to invent and uh like love science or whatever whatever is compelling them to take their science project out of their house and out in the streets, like, and if they're within their rights to come up with these things and try to get people on board, like, you're also allowed to become grounded in your own energy and not feel the need to take part or react to what they're doing, like it's sort of like, if nobody took part in, like, his car companies and this and that. I'm just using him as an example because he's, like, obviously made himself very, public, so it's hard to not see him as an example of somebody who's, like, creating a bunch of stuff that he wants everyone to take part in. Um, but being grounded and becoming, like, familiar with how you feel, what you value, and uh then you're less likely to, like, fall for something that, like, the more grounded you are and the more, um, if you're standing not, like, strong, not in a defensive way, but, like, what you like, what you value, and that's, like, as solid as a like a tree. Like, so you're less likely to just be like how a tree is, like, grounded with deep roots and stuff. Your tree is not gonna just, like, shake off their roots and, like, walk, like, for anything that is, suggested to them. So, I think, like, in this time when there seems to be a lot of stuff going on in, emphasis on sort of non non-earth, like, non sort of physical stuff, like, communication that is, like eh, like, in the ether or whatever, like, the internet, however, like, whatever. Like, getting to know something, even let's say you live in a city, but there's, like, a tiny park or whatever, just get familiar with, like, the 5 trees in the park, like, really, like, chill out and, like, pay attention to, like, the really minute stuff, like, be an observer. Don't be, like, always taking action and stuff, and sort of vibe on, like, how you fit in to that. And, grounding doesn't have to be this sort of ceremonial thing that someone has to teach you, like, I think to be truly grounded, you're, like, getting to know yourself and where you fit in, rather than somebody telling you, like, this is how you fit in or this is how you like a lot of like I appreciate like yoga poses and stuff, but when people lay on like their like personal dramas in the class or like the teachers or like just over inform stuff so that you're not even like able to ground yourself because they're taking up all the air or making it complicated. Maybe just me and I have like like a impatience level or something with yoga, but you need to give yourself time to like really get to know your own energy and just be a quiet observer until you sort of feel like you know it better, and to not always be like reacting or like going along for some ride that you're like, why am I even, there's a lot of people who are like, why am I even like living in this cube in the city, you know, under fluorescent lights all day, like, for what? Like, and it's like, that's a valid, argument, and then you have to really tune into yourself, like, "Well, what do I prefer?" And, like, and I think, like, if each person individually is getting in touch with their own feelings and what makes them feel grounded and, like, what do they appreciate about life truly, I think if everybody did that, like, there'd be less, falling for just whatever random stuff people come up with that they see as, like, solutions or whatever. But, like, for me, it's like, I'm a bit of a car, fan or whatever, and, like, the notion of, well, for one thing, like, I don't like cars that have you where you have to, like, go into a menu to do anything. It's super unsafe. Like, it's super unsafe to have it. They're like initially, it was like, "Don't use your phone in your car," and then, now they literally put, like, a giant iPad in your car to distract you. It's like, what are you doing? Like, so, like, not everything that people make is, like, a good idea, right? So, just because they have the money to have access to deliver their message to people or pitch their product, like, doesn't make it valid to you and, like, what you value. And it's like, the more I become familiar with nature, like, the louder it sounds to me, and, like, the bigger, the more important it becomes. And it's like, because we're, like, human and we can, like, uh, do a bunch of stuff, like, doesn't mean we shouldn't just, like, also learn how to, like, tone it down and, like, learn how to belong better, like, in nature and stuff. So, but I know that, like, right now, I saw this news item about, how Nova Scotia, they're making it, like, I don't know if it's true, but, like, I've seen some news about it, where you're, like, forbidden to go into, like, the woods or, like, like, nature. I don't know if it's, like, national parks or if they just mean, like, any, like, it'd be difficult if you, like, if your property contained woods or I don't know, like, it might just be national parks, but, like, it's like, what? So, uh, I would just say, like, do what you can to feel grounded and, like, observe nature and, like, let it inform you in its own kinda, like, language. And, if you end up feeling grounded or more sure of, like, what you value through that, then that's probably good so that, like, you don't feel that, need to reply back. It's like if you knew someone, like, really toxic who likes to, like, play with, like, power dynamics and stuff, and they, confront you with various things they're saying or doing. It's like you don't necessarily have to answer to it, It's more just like they're just being themselves, like a peacock is being a peacock or what, or a chicken's making a chicken sound, whatever. Like, it's like a self-portrait, and you don't necessarily have to enter their world in that way. So, uh, similarly, if people are coming up with, like, bad agendas or bad products, like, there's been plenty of products and types of cars that have come and gone and have turned to dust or rust and whatever. So if you know what you value, you know, and you stand comfortably in that energy, like you're less likely to be like pulled down some like, you know, someone else's sort of stream of consciousness thing. So I don't know, it's kind of a rambling like point of view reading or whatever. But maybe I'll do something that's like more intuitive to go along with this reading, rather than just my opinion. So I'm gonna just sort of tune in to nature and see like if there's any kind of message that's like of value having to do with this reading. So I'm gonna sort of like look at nature and technology and like that kind of thing. I feel like the energy I'm getting from the tech stuff is very ego based, sorry. And once the personality that's like driving that project, you know, down some kind of road, um, either quits or gets fired or whatever, or like ages out, the energy behind that project kind of dissipates. So there's that. I don't know, it feels like there's stuff like these are my initials too, like LHC, the the whatever, the collider thing. Um, uh, I sort of see that down the road being like taken apart for parts and like for copper wire and like whatever stuff. Like it's like I know when my dad uh he was like a mathematician, like professor at University of Waterloo back when it started, and um the math he told me like the math building had like a 3-story computer in it. It probably did less than your iPhone right now. Um, so the collider like feels like that, like it's gonna be like outdated and taken apart for parts and stuff. I feel like that what I'm getting from nature is like your own thoughts and uh, the energy that are in your thoughts is like powerful. So make sure that when you're having thoughts that you direct them to something good that you want. People say this all the time, but it's like I'm picking it up also. Uh, it's sort of like sunlight on a plant. Like what do you want to grow with your thoughts and stuff like that. It's not something where you're like straining or whatever, but like just, you know, if you find your thoughts sort of shining your own like sunlight on something that you don't even like or whatever, like tune into what you do like to like what matters to you and stuff like that. What you want to do well. It sounds like a boat trailer without a boat on it. Okay. With no shock absorbers. Okay, so all right. Where were we for that? Yeah, your thoughts. So I feel like nature's also telling me like if you just have like one like nature friend or whatever, And that could even be like a person who with whom you have like a very pure-hearted connection or like some level of true like trust in, and where you're not even needing to like really talk so much, but you just like is a peaceful vibe. Um, so whether you have access to nature and like even some people have like a plant in their where they live or, or just whatever, or like how you can become familiar with like a certain tree in your neighborhood or whatever. I feel like nature's saying like you only need like one nature buddy truly, but like to really vibe like that and feel grounded. So that's nice. Yeah, and then when I look back at technology and stuff, it feels like again really tied to like a person and like their own kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like it's not the word isn't outrageous, but like it's like a conceit or like a they're just like very highly I'm trying to think of the word. It's kind of like it's kind of like a mental illness. It feels like where like let's say they lack empathy or uh like is a psychopath a better way of saying it? They're just like so focused on making this thing happen, like no matter what, and like without regard to other people's welfare and stuff like that. So in some of these like scientists who want to do things to involve like everyone or like to kind of control their behavior or like how they shop, how they live, whatever. Like I'm kind of getting like they could be psychopaths, like lacking empathy and wanting that control. So it might be interesting to when you're seeing these things take place in the world, like to ask yourself, like, does this person have traits of mental illness or uh, divergent traits like psychopathy or sociopathy or like uh, why are they so intent on having an impact in everyone's lives and uh, from where does their need to control come from? And I mean, in the case of, and like it's pretty well documented at this point that Elon Musk had like a weird dad and like a strange, difficult upbringing. So, you know, is one possible answer to like why he's so compelled to make like an impact on everybody or control things and stuff. Because like if you're I mean, I did not study psychology, like, so whatever. It's just like if people growing up had people controlling them in a negative way, like maybe that grown up child would want to take control themselves to try to like, initially, steady the boat, but then like maybe that's like overkill. So all right, so nature and science. Let's just look at it. Like I said, I'm just saying like Elon Musk's kind of like story and like his family life, his love life, like it's all his projects. Like he's in the White House. He's all like he's putting himself out there, so it's reasonable to use him as an example of what I'm talking about because he has given us more than enough information to you know, uh, to use to exhibit A kind of with him. And if he doesn't want critics, like he could live a more private life. But like if he's living out loud in everybody's face, like it's a good example to use. Um, and just so you know, like this reading is for entertainment purposes only. It's like an intuitive reading, and okay, so okay, nature and science. I feel like it's like okay, it's interesting. So I feel like science is trying to use politics or governmental stuff to like really solidify having their way. Because like maybe back before computers or telephones, like politics was people talking amongst each other, just people, and not a lot of not too much science going on. I mean, so with the internet and like cameras and video and like it's the whole nature of dialogue has become much more like digitized and like manipulated, and it's no longer just a face-to-face conversation. Um, so I feel like there's this conceit that science has that they can kind of run the world, or like this is just what I'm seeing. Okay, it's not my opinion, it's my intuition telling me what I see. So I feel like they're the people that like run science-based organizations are trying to like lock in with politics, and to then have their way to like it's leadership of people rather than just like making stuff, like rather than just like selling a car that looks like a I'm not gonna say, but like as some sort of product that people can either buy or not buy. Like now it's like like they want to run the show, and it feels like this. It's what the image I get is this kind of like carbon steel, kind of dark gray, sort of like it's not like the monolith in 2001, but if it is anything like that, it would be like more horizontal uh and thinner. But it's that kind of thing where it's like, here is our seamless solution. But like you know my feeling is that it will not be successful, even if they've convinced themselves it is, because they lack that like extra little special sauce that like is called empathy. um it's like they don't have the full picture, so they're kind of like, it's like having blinders on and walking straight ahead with blinders on. It's like, hey, like there's other stuff going on here, like it's you're missing something. So that's the feeling I get. So I feel like nature has like the trick up its sleeve, like I got volcanoes. Like I got like it's like science is like the flea on the bear's body, and the bear is nature. I feel like, and like the flea thinks it's like it's like SpongeBob or something, like the tiny whatever that is, like that um one-eyed organism thinks he's gonna take over the world. That is like the dynamic that we're looking at right now. And it's like, who's gonna tell them? Like, who's it's kind of like the relative where people like they care about this person, but it's like, who's gonna tell them that like acting like that isn't gonna work? So I kind of feel like science right now is that relative that everyone's worried about succeeding. So yeah, there's probably a lot of copper and whatever at the LHC to be repurposed into something. So anyway, that's my reading. I hope it's for entertainment purposes only. It's an intuitive reading. Don't get all whatever. But the main point of this video is about trusting your own instincts and calm to like feel grounded, so that like, because if you don't stand for what you believe in, you'll fall for anything, right? As they say. All right. Hope you have a good day. If you guys want to like, share, subscribe, I mean, if you're sharing it, it'd be like you have to be your friend who's like really patient and likes like very long videos, but whatever. And if we can get subscriptions up to just over 1,000, that would be great. I think I'm like close to halfway there. But that'd be pretty cool. And if you want to donate, that would be great too. And there's information on how to do that in my information box. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope you have a wonderful time getting to know nature on a smaller, big scale. All right, take care. Bye.